the question is, if you're looking at 2025 and thinking of what's happened to the markets, the question is, how is the Josh? And is it high, Anushi?
Well, Neeraj, it's the end of 2025 that we are seeing. And for some sectors, we are seeing that the Josh is particularly high, while for other sectors, वो तो जोश भी उन्होंने खो दिया और होश भी खो दिया. So let's see which are the key sectors which are the top gainers today. So in terms of top sectoral gainers for the year, we are looking at Nifty PSU Bank right at the top. 31% is the kind of an upside that we are seeing. This is followed by something like a defense and auto as well. 24% and 22% of an uptick is kind of what we've seen against Nifty 50, which has made a 11% of an uptick this year. So strong sectoral gainers. But let's start with PSU Bank now. And as Anil Kapoor says, ये तो झक्कास चल रहा है. Indian Bank, 68% of an uptick. Canara Bank and Bank of India also have recorded about a 44 and 50% of an uptick this year itself. And a couple of reasons as to why the PSU banks have seen this particular rally. Firstly, is the strong growth in credit and deposits is what we are looking at. Apart from that, there's also SEBI amendment of Nifty Banks Index rules by including more constituents up to 14 versus 12 earlier. And government also mulling up PSU Bank foreign investment cap to 49% now, which is also a higher investment value that we are seeing. So that's a Nifty PSU banks that we are seeing. Coming to the defense pack, this is the Dabang sector that we are looking at for the year. Higher gains, but did see some correction. Despite that, we are looking at a return of more than led by Garden Reach, 70% plus. Along with that, MTAR Tech and Bharat Electronics also standing quite strong. This is on the order book visibility that they have showcased over the years. So the question really, or rather the answer really is on the order book to build ratio, which is on the healthier side, but it's execution now, which is the key aspect going forward. Along with that, it's also the government's role and rather their focus on indigenization along with the export target of 50,000 crore, which is aiding that kind of outlook in terms of how the defense order book is going to continue to shape up. So that's on defense that we are seeing. But coming to the auto space now, ये तो दो दुपहिया है और rather ये दो गाड़ी तो बहुत चल गई. TVS Motor, Hero MotoCorp and Eicher Motors being the clear standouts here with gains of over 50% is what we are looking at. Now Nifty Auto, if you just look at a couple of key triggers, GST rate cut stands right at the top, and this will be further. Rural recovery is also something that we should be expecting with wedding season boosting the demand as well, which was not the case scenario for that rural piece that we'd seen last year. Also, OEMs are now optimistic on higher single-digit volume growth as well for FY27 and the second half as well. So that's another sector factor that we are seeing. So rural demand is the key story that we are seeing for the auto pack. But coming to what's also not doing so well, जिसने जोश खो बैठा ये साल, we are seeing Nifty Media, Realty and IT seeing cuts of over 19 to 13% this particular year itself. In fact, if you talk about Realty and what's not worked out for them, and just do a reality check on that, we are seeing Anantraj, Oberoi Realty and Brigade Enterprises right at the bottom, down about 30% this year itself. And what has led to this kind of steep correction, if we are seeing, is the pre-sales growth, which was mainly led by sustenance sales versus new launches. So moderation in launch pipeline and volumes has made investors cautious about the outlook forward. In fact, launch volumes have plunged 61% this year itself. So that's on the realty piece that we are seeing. But coming to the IT pack also, इसमें भी कुछ खास नहीं चल रहा है. We are seeing Oracle Financial Services, TCS and Wipro seeing cuts of over 36% itself this year. तो ये दुख तो उनके लिए खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा. तो अगले साल क्या हो रहा है? That's the main question that we are looking at. What is hurt also is low discretionary spend. This is due to the broader macro uncertainties also that we are seeing. Along with that, what is not worked out is deal conversions, which were comparatively slower this year, keeping the revenue growth also on the weaker side is what we are looking at. There was some pressures on the margins as well on account of wage hikes and rising on-site project cost also, which is another factor that has not worked out so well for them. Along with that, while AI spending is still early, it's not delivered that meaningful revenue gains for majority of these players is what we are looking at. So this is on the weaker side of things that we are looking at. But coming to what could be buzzing is something like a Nifty Pharma is what we've seen. Here, US have shelved the tariffs on generic drugs. So that's on the positive that we are seeing. They've also revised the US Biosecure Act, which was under discussion as well. So that's on the positive that we are looking at. Along with that, there's strong domestic demand and growth as well. So that's on pharma. But FMCG, while the sector is down about 2%, यहाँ पे खुशी है, Mogambo खुश हुआ because of the GST rate cuts which have taken place, which is going to fuel that demand from second half onwards. So while there was a transitory impact in terms of the inventory buildup, because of these cuts in terms of GST prices, they are expecting a strong H2 going forward. So that's on the positive we are seeing. So just if you are taking a summary of all of these sectors and seeing the outlook ahead, really the focus would be on acceleration of launch pipeline. Along with that, PSU Bank will continue its strength on the basis of improving fundamentals. Along with that, defense, now government is seeking a 20% of a budget hike in 2027. Will that play out is a key factor that we'll be watching out for. Along with that, auto, the sales momentum is expected to continue across categories. Realty, we just covered. IT, there would be now focus on AI. So is that AI boom going to aid the growth over here is something that we should keep watching out for. And for FMCG, the focus is, of course, on volume growth recovery on the back of these GST rejects that have taken place. So that's the overall picture. तो देखते हैं अगर picture आगे कैसे रहा इनका.